All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the supernatural, but we're not just going to talk about ghost stories. We're going to learn how to create one. Forget the spirits, we are diving deep into the very real tricks and illusions used to fake a haunting.
So let's start our story in Jaipur, back in 1989. We're on the set of a Bollywood movie, and it's a ghost story. The actress Dimple Kapadia is filming this intense drama about a restless spirit that's trapped inside a palace.
So, after a really long day of shooting, she goes to bed. But sometime in the middle of the night, she wakes up and there's this chilling sight. A woman just sitting there, right beside her. I mean, for her, this felt absolutely real. A heart-stopping, terrifying moment. But was it?
Well, before we go looking for ghosts in some old, creepy house, we first need to understand the ghosts that can live inside our own heads. To really solve this mystery, we've got to look at the most powerful ghost-making machine on the planet. That incredible, and sometimes kind of tricky, supercomputer you carry around with you every single day.
Now here's a wild question for you. Can your mind actually make your body move without you even realizing it's happening? This is the key, the absolute key behind some of the most classic paranormal experiences, from spooky dowsing rods to the infamous Ouija board. The scientific explanation for this is something called the Ideomotor effect. It's this fascinating psychological thing where your brain, mostly driven by what you expect to happen, sends these tiny, unconscious signals to your muscles. It causes them to move without you ever consciously telling them to. Your body is basically acting on a thought, not a command.
Okay, let's actually try this out. You can do this right now. Go grab a ring or any little weight and tie it to a string to make a pendulum. Now hold it perfectly still. Don't try to move it, just think about it swinging in a circle. Just picture it in your head. What happens? I bet you'll see your hands start making these microscopic movements, all guided by your thoughts, and the pendulum starts to move. That right there, that's the ideomotor effect in action. Your own mind is making it happen.
And this is the exact same secret behind the Ouija board. It's not spirits. When people put their hands on that little planchette and ask a question, their brains are tapping into all their subconscious memories, their hopes, their fears, and their hands just start moving on their own, spelling out answers that feel like they're from another world, but they're really coming from inside their own heads.
So now that we've seen how our own minds can play tricks on us, let's talk about how technology can make those illusions even more convincing. It is time to assemble our very own ghost hunting toolkit and learn how to create some paranormal evidence out of thin air. First up, the infrared camera. Ghost hunters absolutely love these things for finding cold spots or, ghostly heat signatures. But really, these cameras are just picking up super simple temperature changes. See that human-shaped blob on the chair? Yeah, that's just the lingering body heat from someone who sat there a minute ago. Those eerie footprints? Someone just walked out of the bathroom with wet feet. Next, let's talk about the EMF meter. This one looks super scientific, right? It beeps, the lights flash, it must be detecting a ghost. But in reality, it's just a sensitive detector for electromagnetic fields. So everything from a cell phone in your pocket to the old wiring in the walls, even a camera battery, will make this thing go absolutely nuts. It's not detecting a spirit, it's just detecting, modern life. And motion sensors are another classic. Oh man, they're perfect for creating drama. A light in an empty, abandoned building suddenly turns on. Is it a ghost, a poltergeist, or maybe it's just a mouse running by, a strong draft, or even a single leaf falling past the sensor? I mean, the sensor is just doing what it's designed to do, detect movement. Now, you might think that using tech and psychology to fool people is a modern thing, right? From TV shows? Nope. This is an old trick. In fact, some of the most famous paranormal cases in history were built on these exact same principles. Let's hop in a time machine and go back to the 1800s. Meet the Fox sisters. These women became total celebrities by claiming they could talk to the dead. People would ask questions, and these mysterious rapping sounds would answer from inside the walls. They made an absolute fortune from their seances. But here's the thing. Their entire fame was built on a lie. 40 years later, one of them finally confessed to everything in public. There were no spirits. And those spooky rapping sounds that had the whole country captivated, it was just them secretly hitting the walls with their feet. A simple little trick that preyed on people's grief. And this pattern just keeps repeating itself. The infamous Amityville Horror, the family totally made up the whole story to get a big book and movie deal. And more recently, you have YouTubers like Steve Huff who claimed he could talk to a dead celebrity's spirit. Turns out he was just manipulating old audio clips from an interview. The motivation is almost always the same: money and fame.
So, we've seen the psychological tricks, and we've seen the tech illusions, and if it's all so simple, why do we keep falling for it? And, what's the real harm in just watching a ghost hunting show on TV? Where do we draw that line? To answer that, let's go all the way back to our opening mystery. What really happened to Dimple Kapadia on that film set in Jaipur? Was she actually visited by a spirit from the movie?
Well, the real explanation was so simple, it was kind of beautiful. When she told a princess on the set about what she saw, the princess pointed something out. Dimple had spent the entire day acting, thinking, and breathing the role of a ghost. So it's really no surprise that after hours of living inside that character, her mind just kind of produced a ghost of its own later that night.
And this is exactly why this all matters. Look, watching a horror movie for a good scare, that's entertainment, that's fun. The problem starts when TV shows or YouTubers present all these tricks and superstitions as if they're real, all for the sake of getting more ratings and views. They're blurring the line between a bit of fun and an actual falsehood, and they're usually doing it for profit.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Knowing what we know now about how easily these illusions can be created, both with our gadgets and inside our own minds, we really have to ask ourselves, when does a good scare cross the line and become a harmful lie? The answer, I think, is in our ability to think critically and to remember that sometimes the most fantastic stories have the simplest